welcome aboard, folks, to the weekly Friday night, or Friday evening for us, but it's swiftly becoming night up here in the kind of northernish climes of Ireland. The Irish News Rundown. Yeah, we have a little bit of fun here, for maybe a minute, and then the rest of it's just a drag. How's it going? I'm your host, Howard, from the Anti-Broadcast. Tune into our weekly flagship show every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Irish Standard Time. Sorry. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm getting better at this. Hit the mute button, Howard, when you want to take a swig of something. It would be handy if I could afford microphones that didn't pick up such terrible details, but there we go. That's what we're left to deal with. So, for you guys who are new, I'm sure you get the idea. I got a request there on my other channel asking, do I do a Irish news kind of brief of what's going on there generally in the country? And I said no, but that's a very good idea. So here we are. Alright, let's get into the meat and potatoes, as we say. Yes, switch over to the viewer. Okay. So what I like to do every now and then is begin with a story from across the channel. Our British neighbours over there. EU leaders call for the UK public to have final say on Brexit outcome with new referendum. Despite Theresa May's insistence there will be no new vote, one of her ministers has admitted it's possible. Right, so this is what the European Union like to do. In Ireland, you had the Nice Treaty. I believe that's it. Nice Treaty. I forget which exactly it is, but basically are signing on to the European Union as a fully political entity. The first time around, we voted no for it. That didn't go down too well with the autocrats out there in Lula land. We're up and down, or exactly reversed. They decided that we're going to just have to go ahead and give it another go. So, to kind of get over the kind of obvious legal implications of that, they changed a little bit of wording. They didn't change the guts of it or anything like that. They just changed the bare bones wording, really. Handed it back to us, and they got the exact result they wanted, which was a yes to ratify. They've also done this to Holland and I think was it Spain? I think on the Nice Treaty and or other kind of things that required the respective republics' desire, stipulations and needs constitutional basis to check in with the people. And they're not done yet. They're gonna still try that hand once more. Oh man, the websites have gotten so fucking awkward. At least for the desktop view. You know, I've generally had an okay experience with mobile, but Jesus Christ. EU leaders openly called for the UK to have another Brexit referendum today as talks over future relations with Britain entered a critical stage. The Prime Ministers of the Czech Republic and Malta both said they would prefer the British public have a final say on the outcome of negotiations once they are complete and people can clearly see the options. This is such a backstab. Such a fucking backstab. Not that the Czech Republic and Malta have on their own any kind of fucking veto power over anything else that any other member state does, or have the drafting abilities that is exclusive to the European Commission. You know, the unelected European Commission. No, that's just being put out there, and the idea is that I mean, this is me just making supposition here, but I think it's pretty reasonable to say that even though there may have been people within the UK government that might have wanted this, it wouldn't have even become a possibility unless two arsehole fucking countries, and I mean that in both personality and the condition of the era of the nations themselves, hadn't brought it up in the first place. Like that's just how that's just how fucking pernicious this stuff is. What are you dunging at me, you cunt? What's going on here? Fuck this broadcaster, man. What, am I still online? Jesus fuck. You know? Alright. Hello there, one listener who just happened to tune in at this moment, as I was having a bit of a snafu with my software. Let me get my bearings about me here again. Yeah, just like the EU has done to my beloved Ireland and done to Holland and at least one other member state, when it came to a referendum issue, they tell us, no, you've got to do this again. You know, this whole thing of seeing the options clearly. I mean, like, I thought the option was to not be in the EU or be in the EU. But no, they've got this kind of, as has been fucking sold to the people over time, soft Brexit. Like there's any such fucking thing. You know? As if there's any such thing. But no, that's what they brainwash the people into, so then eventually they could pull this fucking switcheroo on people and say, hey, you didn't really know what you're in for. Yeah, the people did not know what they were in for because, let me tell you, why? Because you guys are fucking liars and you did a bait and switch. So congratulations. I hope that we someday see a moment in history where you guys are hanging from the gallows. That would be pretty cool. As far as I know, the the price of hanging has not been taken off of the books for treason in Britain, and thank fuck. When this is all done and dusted, I sincerely suggest to the British people that they petition the Queen to have these people hung. Hanged, or what have you. So, yeah, if Ireland is going to go down a similar route, they'd better hope, the EU better hope, that this second time around the British people decide to remain. Because if not, and I've total confidence that, you know, they'll leave. If not, then it'll be too obvious this time around in the post-Nice world, where we all know what the European Union truly is. Yet people will be fucking enraged and will not put up with it being pulled on them once more. Now, in Ireland, we've had the Exit Freedom to Prosper Party, I think that's what they call them. Really convoluted name, but hey, whatever. Led by some guy up in the north, Northern Ireland, with the whole idea of getting Ireland out of the European Union. There's some holes in the theory there that kind of shows up Irexit to be just another UK IP, except, you know, with not as much clout and legitimacy. I have my thoughts on them, but that's another issue entirely. Really, what the European Union wants to do is to just whip everyone into conformity so that they're not shown up in the schoolyard to be the school bullies. And at that point, when they are shown up for this, then, you know, they'll just have everyone defect on them. This is sincerely what we hope to see here in the near future, folks. I am reasonably optimistic, I suppose. Let's carry on here. Alright, so we have this thing over in the UK now where there's a whole division of the police just solely dedicated to hate crimes. Just, you know, they're on alert whenever a British person dares to hurt someone's feelings online. And a comparatively large amount of money is being pumped into this. And this is in the wake of skyrocketing crimes, mostly in London, other concentrated areas where, you know, Muslims happen to be. Coincidence? I think not. And now they want to pull this shit off here in Ireland. Here we have a security correspondent. Right, like Ireland has any security. A specialist Garda hate crimes division should be set up to improve the reporting of offenses and the quality of investigations, according to a submission to the Policing Commission. The submission calls for the Garda Racial, Intercultural and Diversity Office to be scrapped, saying it has limited resources and expertise. The submission was made jointly by the European Network Against Racism Ireland. Oh wow, yeah. Who are these guys again? I think they have the Socialist Workers' Party behind them. Either that or actual European Union backing. Whenever my internet feels like loading anything. Okay. Right. Oh, I don't know. Who knows what this is? Oh, doesn't she look so worried? Oh my god, she looks so concerned about hate crime. Diversity is not dangerous. Oh, why do they need to tell us this? This is kind of like, you walk into the kitchen and the 5-year-old has his hands in the cookie jar, and the instant reaction is, I didn't do it. And this is the hand in the cookie jar moment right here, folks. Diversity is not dangerous. Like, as opposed to touting the positives of diversity, no, they're just going to preemptively get in there and tell us that it's not dangerous. Yeah, who the fuck is this? And you know, the guys just aren't fucking savvy. If they have a Tumblr share button as in their range of social share buttons. Like, when's the last time you saw a Tumblr share button on a website? I would have an open bet with any of you out there. €50 says you haven't in the last 10 years. I don't even think they had social share buttons 10 years ago. Sweet mother of Jesus, who are these people? But yeah, okay, which incorporates 80 non-governmental organizations, and Lucy Michael, a lecturer in sociology at Ulster University. Oh god, this just gets better and better. And you know, I'm pretty certain that there's a lot of fucking socialist organizations in there, because they're always talking about racism, even back like in the beginning of the 2000s, when there was no racism at all, because there weren't many other racial groups in Ireland. Like, in terms of quantity, we were in the very early stages of our plantation at that stage. It says there needs to be a national action plan against racism, as well as an independent national consultative. Oh, come on now. This is just straight up thought control, thought policing, thought crime, however you want to put it. Even pre-crime, you know, because, like, you know, you're not committing any crimes, but you could if, you know, you have thoughts of other groups that aren't accepted in the mainstream. Ah, jeez. Now, this just shouldn't be. It should not be allowed. It's going way, way above and beyond the capacity of any lawful police agency or government agency at all. And guys, you know, if you want to fight racism, the last thing that you should be doing, and this goes for any form of ideology or thought or opinion that you want rid of, the last thing you want to be doing is restricting people's speech and turning them into criminals simply for sharing their thoughts. I mean, like, come on, duh. It's only the whole of fucking history that tells us this, but hey, you know, I don't know. Is it a thing where they, you know, have not learned history, so they're doomed to repeat it, or is there something more sinister going on here? I don't know. You know, they say that intelligent people usually attribute to the actions of others stupidity, while less intelligent people attribute to the actions of others malice or evil. I don't think that's a totally like an absolute rule, because right here I think I see a pretty fucking obvious exception to this rule. I think this is just straight up malice. I think there's some kind of other agenda going on here, but you know, that's just me with my permanently glued on tinfoil hat. Never mind me. Excuse me for thinking of issues deeper than the street level. Let's move along here to our third and last piece. Social homes on council land to cost €500,000 each to build. So, yeah, this is just speaking specifically of homes at St. Teresa's Gardens in Dublin's inner city. Now, the reason why I need to make the distinction here that council land is different to just private land is that I think that land in inner city Dublin is probably going to cost you is 4 times as much as this absurd amount of money to it's out of this fucking world expensive. And according to this article, it's overpriced materials due to tariffs, fucking European Union fucking having all these taxes and licensings up the wazoo, loads of primary, secondary, tertiary costs, and this is what we have at the end of it. This is the cake that the European Union has baked for us. And one other factor in here is that we might not actually be in such a serious housing crisis. I don't have this statistics offhand here in terms of how many single people, how many families, including children, are currently homeless. But we're going into a winter here, and boy, just in the past week, it's fucking chilled. It's got a lot to do with the storm that just hit us 2 days ago. But yeah, if it weren't for all of those fucking be careful what words I use here. The thought police might come after me. All of these immigrants coming into the country, just flowing with absolutely no checks whatsoever right into Ireland. Yeah, maybe we might not be in such a bad shape in terms of being able to house our own people, in terms of being able to give healthcare to our own people. All that stuff that we were promised. Bollocks. And we weren't unduly promised it either. It was a straightforward deal. No matter how socialist or capitalist a country is, we were all promised the same thing. Do your work, pay your taxes, you will be looked after. If you are in need, there is a social safety net there for you and your children. And this is yet another backstab, one among many, that it's impossible to get any decent healthcare unless, you're fucking rich. Just putting it plainly. Now, there are stories going on around out there, reported on by legitimate sources, that families are already being evicted from houses that, they were lucky to have in the first place, that, it's a really bad housing market, in exchange for housing Syrian families or Sudanese families. People who really shouldn't be coming here. They really should be staying at home. In the case of the Syrians, they were refugees, but the war is over in Syria. They shouldn't be being housed here. They should be sent home. Because Assad wants them home. He said so himself. When it comes to the Sudanese immigrants, they are economic immigrants. They're opportunistic. They should be sent home. Simple as. But folks, we do not live in a simple world. Oh, sure, it is simple, but there are a lot of fucking middlemen out here who are, they're making up their own rules and suggesting that we all abide by them. So, look, that's the Irish news rundown. I wish I had more for you guys, but it's been a busy week. I had things to do on top of the anti-broadcast. And I ask you to tune right back in with me again every Friday, 8 p.m. Irish summertime, is it? Irish Standard Time? Yeah, that's the one. Also,